An unusually bizarre comment appears in the Gemara at the very end of Maseches Sota. The Mishnah teaches us that Mishameis Rabbi Batel Anava v'yiras chet. When Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the editor of the Mishnayos, died, Anava, humility, and yiras chet, fear of sin, could no longer be found. Rabbi so greatly personified these values that once Rabbi had passed away, one could not truly find these virtues anymore. Commenting on this line in the Mishnah, the Amora Rav Yosef says as follows: Amar le Rav Yosef latana. Rav Yosef says to the Tana, Lo tisni anava. Do not say that when Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi passed away, humility ceased to be found. Ti'ika ana, because there's still me. I am an anav. I personify the trait of humility. It's true, Rebbe was a great anav. But even without Rebbe, we still have anavim like me. And the bizarre nature of this Gemara speaks for itself. If anava means humility, and humility speaks to a person who does not speak so greatly about himself, person who does not talk about his great virtues to other people, how can it be a display of anava to say that one is a great anav? The Netziv explains by pointing to a pasuk in this week's parsha. The Netziv says that when Miriam spoke lashon hara about Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem punished Miriam, and Hashem explained to Miriam had spoken lashon hara about Moshe Rabbeinu, that he had separated from his wife, and she thought that Moshe was not on a higher level of nevuah than she was, and than Aaron was. And Hashem explained to her, you don't understand, Moshe is on a higher level of nevuah. And before Hashem intervened, the pasuk tells us, V'ha'ish Moshe anav me'od, mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama. Moshe was the biggest anav, the most humble of all individuals. And then Netziv asks, why does the pasuk need to tell us this at this point? Why right now is it necessary to know that Moshe was a great anav? And then Netziv explains, because the true definition of anav, the true definition of what we usually call humility, it is not somebody who doesn't recognize their strengths, not somebody who doesn't recognize their abilities. That's not anav. Not somebody who necessarily is found not contributing, not making a great impact. Says the Netziv, the definition of an anav is a person who is eino chash lechvodo uletza'aro. A person who does not demand recognition. A person who does not demand that they be treated in a special way. That's the definition of the word anav. And the Torah is telling us here that Hashem intervened on Moshe Rabbeinu's behalf, not because Moshe demanded that somebody stand up for his dignity. Moshe was not bothered by it. Moshe, with all his greatness, with his recognition of the fact that he was on a level of nevuah that no other Navi had ever attained, Moshe was not bothered by the fact that Miriam had not recognized that. The reason Hashem intervened is because of the ikar be'emunah that it was to know that Nevuas Moshe Rabbeinu was on a different level of nevuah. The importance of recognizing the greatness of Nevuas Moshe Rabbeinu and how that speaks, how that's a testament to the Torah, which Moshe received from Hashem. That's why Hashem needed to intervene and teach this lesson. But it wasn't because Moshe cared. V'ha'ish Moshe anav me'od. Moshe was a person who was eino chash lechvodo uletza'aro. And with this, the Netziv explains our Gemara as well. Rav Yosef was a great anav, not in the sense that Rav Yosef was a person who didn't recognize his talents, didn't recognize his abilities, and even in the sense that Rav Yosef was comfortable speaking about his strengths and his abilities. He was comfortable speaking about the fact that he indeed was an anav. But Rav Yosef was eino chash lechvodo uletzaro. Rav Yosef didn't demand that anyone treated him any differently. Rav Yosef didn't think that because he had an ability, because he had cultivated a talent, because he was able to make an important contribution, therefore people should treat him any differently than they would treat anyone else. The Rosh Hashiva Zatzal, Rav Goldvicht, in a very similar vein to the Netziv, gives a very poignant definition of what an anav truly is. And Rav Goldvicht explains that an anav, a true anav, is defined by where his values lie. What does a person value in life? Does a person value his own development? Or does a person value the contribution that they make to other people? Rav Goldvicht explains that one who is not an anav sees himself as the center of the world and sees himself, his own growth, as the ultimate goal. The anav puts the world in the center, puts the rest of existence in the center, and sees his abilities, his strengths, as what he can contribute to the world. When the anav asks himself, was I successful in my life? Was I successful over the course of the last day, week, month, year, whatever it was? The question is, how does he measure success? One who is not an anav measures success as, how much did I gain? How much did I develop? The anav definition of success is the world a better place because I've been in it? And in this way, the true definition of anava is somebody who recognizes their abilities, somebody who recognizes what they have to offer and contribute. Ironically, one cannot be an anav without recognizing their abilities. One cannot make contributions without recognizing they have a contribution to make. But what sets an anav apart is a person who makes such contributions, recognizes that Hashem has given him strengths and abilities. But he does not demand recognition for that, because it's not about him. It's about using those abilities to make the world a better place.